The NBA has fully moved into Orlando down there. You saw Joel Embiid looking like a Breaking Bad character going down there with an entire bodysuit on with the mask. J.R. Smith got in some trouble for an Instagram Live last night talking about his hotel room is filled with candy and things like that. And he's like, hey, listen, man, you're paying people $50 million. You want them to be Ferraris, and then you're putting in this Chrysler BS is what he said in the and I can understand where he's coming from, because if you learn anything about these guys who are super meticulous about their diets, they're not saying like, hey, we have better discipline than you do whenever it comes to great food being around. Now, granted, they can walk past a pizza place and not eat it, which I don't. Makes no sense to me. That is going to be a struggle for me, I think, for the long haul. And I do blame all my Paisan friends that I grew up with just force feeding me that my entire life. So then now it's almost like an addiction that I have. But when I have to push it away a little bit and walk by that, it's very hard for me. I assume that those types of guys who are very fit, you see them on Instagram with like the 45 pack. I assume that my taste buds are infinitely happier than theirs are, but they look incredible. And these high profile athletes, like what Dwight Freeney would put in his body and drink and everything like that, it's not that they have a better discipline, which they do, obviously, but they keep anything out of their lives, right? So like Conor McGregor, he did an entire tour with the UFC of the house he was staying in Las Vegas, and there's like a rule sheet on the refrigerator that's like, hey, there's no sugars in here, there's no this, there's none this, and then in the pantry it's like, hey, there's no candy allowed in here, there's no, because it's you're saving yourself from yourself. And J.R. Smith's like, is this not something we could have thought of? Now, granted, I bet you there's a lot of younger players who aren't J.R. Smith's age who probably just came in the league. They're like, hey, J.R., that's on you, man. Okay, I'm going to eat the hell. And you don't want them? Go ahead and just slide them under the door. Go ahead and slide them down, throw them down the hallway because we're not allowed to be in each other, and we'll take them. But that is an interesting thing, because I think the narrative going into that biodome in Orlando for the NBA was that it was going to be terrible. So whenever you see JR like talk about this, that kind of piles onto that aspect. I don't think this particular one is that big of a deal, but that players lounge is very small. That players lounge is not as large as I thought it was going to be. The food, some players love it, some players hate it. To be honest, it doesn't look that terrible, but could you imagine eating hotel food for 35, 40 days at the minimum? And I think we are just I think that's what a lot of the players are talking about whenever they're posting things. They're like, you see this? This is going to be for the next at least 40 days of my life, which, by the way, getting paid a lot of money to play. You live a dream life, which is we all agree on, but they're also humans at the end of the day, and that is something to think about. I got a chance to play at the Olympic Training Center out in Chula Vista whenever I was playing soccer, California. And when we're in the Olympic village over there, it was very similar to that. Kind of a biodome. You have a players lounge here. You have a cafeteria here. You do this whole thing. That players lounge seemed a bit small. What happened? Do they all get along, I guess? I guess everybody gets along. So you have one big open lobby. Hey, who's going to be the thing I want to, who's going to be the ping pong champion of this whole thing? I mean, they're probably going to have like a 40-day tournament, and they're going to figure out who's the number one guy at ping pong. Yeah. I would like to know who's the number one guy at ping pong in the NBA. We'll find that out. I feel like the NBA players. Now, J.R. Smith got yelled at and told to go off of Instagram Live while he was talking about the candy and everything. I feel like we are going to get really good access into the lives of these NBA players in this biodome, and I'm pumped to see how it plays out. I wonder if the MLS has the same setup as they do. I'm not exactly sure. They're back. The NBA's coming back. The NHL's coming back. NFL is going to figure out how to come back. Even if you can spear people and not even look at each other after games, they're probably going to come back. It's going to get ugly business-wise in the next couple weeks, but they're going to come back.